The 58th Bundesliga season is ready to kick off with match day one on Friday. Bayern Munich is taking on Schalke, as I'm joined by Dan Riccio and Alex Seixeiro. And before we get to the team of all teams coming off Champions League win as well as a Bundesliga title, let's talk about this young man it's hard to believe he's still 19, Dan, but Alphonso Davies, this is a dream year for him considering what's gone on with the entire pandemic. What did you make of just how it went for him, and where does he go from here?
The last 12 months, last year at this time in the Bundesliga starting last summer, he wasn't even in the starting 11 for Bayern Munich, right? And now you look at him and he's one of the top left backs on the planet. Transfer Market, who puts out the player values for everybody, has him at 80 million euros ranked now, which would be the most for any teenager on the planet. So, yeah, it's been an incredible star rise. I think we all had a pretty good idea of just how good he was. Did we know he was going to end up being world class? I don't know. But now the sophomore season, there's no surprising anybody anymore if you're Alphonso Davies. He's going to get a lot of game plans trying to focus on stopping him down the left flank this year.
Well, and he kind of seems like a complete package at 19, but since he's so young, obviously there's going to be some things he's going to work on. And before the opener of the Bundesliga season, guys, he was asked, like, what do you want? What do you think you need to do to be better? And he pointed out two things, just being better defensively and being a better finisher, which I guess he can improve on. But it's, the point of having a full season under Hansi Flick and having a full season with all of that talent around him at 19 years old, you think about even 2 years from now at 21, how much better he can be. And when you're already the most expensive left back in the world, most expensive Canadian in the world, and most expensive teenager in the world, there are so many solid years for Alphonso Davies to have left. But to have him start the season with Flick, it's going to be so much fun to see how higher, Gene, he can take his game.
With so little time between the end of the soccer season and the start of the soccer season, Alphonso had no time to come back to his hometown of Edmonton. And I wonder if there's been enough time, Alex, for other teams in the Bundesliga and clubs to figure out how to knock off Bayern. I mean, you look at this club and they are just a winning machine going into it. Who do you think's got a chance, or does anyone?
It would be great if I could sit here and tell you that another team will leapfrog Bayern Munich, and there might be someone else in this room that might do that. But no, I don't think so. I think even losing a couple of players like they have, Thiago Alcantara is going to Liverpool. That move was settled on Thursday. They're still just so extremely deep at every single position. And if you look at last year, I mean, their ability, Gene, to adjust, they need to find a left back with many injuries early in the season. They plug Alphonso Davies in there, and he was terrific. They took David Alaba, put him at center back. That worked. They took Benjamin Pavard, who's a center back. They threw him at right back, and it worked out well. So they are just covered everywhere, and they're used to playing a lot of games. Mönchengladbach this year, it's their first time with Champions League. So all the fixtures for all the teams are obviously going to be compressed. But if there's a team that can deal with it, it's this team managed by Hansi Flick. And I think the gap is going to be a little bit closer between Bayern and Dortmund this year, but I do think it's going to be Bayern 1 and Dortmund 2.
The thing about Bayern, they spend the most, but they're also the smartest, right? They took a few tips from Borussia Dortmund and how they were working in the transfer market, and that really does make them super difficult to beat because they're finding players, growing with players, and building their 11s that way. And they still have the world-class players like Robert Lewandowski and others. But I did pick Dortmund in my Sportsnet predictions, and it wasn't that long ago. 2 years ago, Dortmund really had a stranglehold on the title. We thought they had the 8-point lead, and they coughed it up last year, all the way up until Der Klassiker late on in the return to play. Dortmund was pretty close. They were within distance to catch Bayern Munich. You give Erling Haaland and Jadon Sancho another chance at this, and I think they can keep up. Dortmund will also get Marco Reus back and healthy. They have Giovanni Reina, who looks like one of the better young teenagers on the planet. They just signed another one in Jude Bellingham from Birmingham in England, and he looks like an absolute star, already scoring for them in the Pokal this week. This young talent is impressive. Can they stay consistent enough to keep up with the professionals Bayern? That's going to be the question, but I think Dortmund can do it.
Well, Gene, if
Yeah,
I can, sorry, just quickly on their manager, Lucien Favre, because there's been a lot of talk about him, and Dortmund did not end the season very well last year. It seems like the fan base is not totally thrilled with him, although those inside the club seem to think he's a really good manager. But we've heard the Julian Nagelsmann rumors for quite a while now, and I do wonder if Dortmund struggle out the gate here, if there is a short leash on Favre as manager this season.
by the way, just a reminder, 13 points of difference between the two, at Bayern at 82 and Dortmund at 69 in last year's Bundesliga season. Okay, Dan, it was a shorter window, but that doesn't mean there wasn't movement. So heading into this Bundesliga season, maybe a player or two that you're looking forward to seeing play German soccer, or a player or two lost that, the Bundesliga will miss.
Yeah, well, I mentioned Jude Bellingham in my Sportsnet.ca predictions, but I'll look at a mainstay on Red Bull Leipzig and Marcel Sabitzer, who I think can be one of the more exciting young midfielders in the world. And they're really going to rely on him even more now after Timo Werner was shipped off to Chelsea this summer. They've got a really good team. Nagelsmann has them playing a fun brand of soccer, but can Marcel Sabitzer take that next step and really be their talisman player is going to be a big question mark for them to get back into a third, or maybe even test at the top of the table.
Alex, for you, what player are you looking forward to seeing in Germany? Or, I think of a Kai Havertz, who was, one of the great young players, also a German, which sort of adds to the salt in the wound of losing him. Who have you got in mind that you want to see?
You know what? It might be a kid who's not even in the league yet. I don't know if that's allowed, but with the Thiago Alcantara transfer to Liverpool, that has given Bayern Munich about 25 to 30 million euros to spend somewhere else. And they've been looking at right back cover for Benjamin Pavard. And there's this young 19-year-old kid, Serginho Dest. He is an American. He is extremely quick. He's playing for Ajax right now. But we've heard this week, Gene, Barcelona have made a really strong pitch to sign Dest. And then here comes Bayern Munich with this infusion of money. And it's what Dan kind of mentioned earlier. They seems like they sell players at the right time. They develop players at the right time. They have this money now. And think about a Dest Alphonso Davies partnership as both your fullbacks. Both kids are 19. They could be set for the next 10 years. So I'm not sure if Bayern will be able to make this go through. They had an initial offer of about 15 million euros rejected, but they had some officials in Amsterdam trying to close this. So when Bayern Munich really wants a player like they did with Davies, the kid is probably good, and he will probably fit extremely well into whatever system they have with whatever coach.
It's the beginning of the season, but you two are already in mid-season form. Dan, Alex, thanks a lot, and enjoy the opener from the Bundesliga on Friday.
Thanks, Gene.
Thanks, Gene.